Hello again, everyone. Do you know, I liked my Ginkgo set of stamps, dies and stencils from Global Land so much. I looked on Amazon again and I found this set. Same make. It's Global Land. It was here. A set of 8 butterflies, the matching dies, but this one has got a 2-step stencil, layering stencil. Anyway, I started to have a play. I made my jig for my Misty, cut out one of each of the dies of the butterflies so that I could position my stamp properly. Did that, and I played with a couple. Now, this was the first one I did, and I really don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is because of this. I find that these in the middle are just too clumpy and kind of nasty. It may be the colour that I used, but the edges of it are on it, so I wanted to use one that was a darkish colour. This one is just doing the stenciling in there with 2 shades. I used Tumbled Glass and Prize Ribbon, 2 shades. Tumbled Glass first, then Prize Ribbon around the edges, and then I just stamped that with its coordinating stamp, which is this one here. But I did wonder if there was a way of actually using this stencil where it would enhance it rather than spoil it, as I think that one is. So I've started a third one. These are just the cutouts that I was left with when I made my jig. So here I've also made myself a sticky mat. Don't know those of you who may not have a sticky mat. I made this from some packaging like this. These were die packages, and I just cut the edges off, and then I cut the centre to the size of the inside of my Misty and just rounded the corners. Then I popped them into my spray box and gave them a spray with Crafter's Companion Stick and Spray. It is a repositionable adhesive. To let it dry off a bit, and now I've got my own sticky mat. Easy to do, and I find that repositionable spray useful for lots of things, particularly for keeping stencils down onto a piece of card, for example. I can just spray the back with a little. Anyway, I digress. I want to carry on and do this. So I'm going to do the secondary. Actually, I'll put a bit of the darker one on first, just a little. This is going to go round, just round the edge. Just bringing it in from the sides. Okay. I think that's a lovely effect, don't you? Really like it. Okay, now I may spoil this, I don't know. But what I want to do is to use this, and very, very conveniently, each of these stencils and each of the dies is marked with the number. It's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on the side of the dies here, there's a little protuberance with its number on. So it's very easy to match up the right die with the right stamp with the right part of the stencil. Okay, now then, what I want to try and do is to put some luscious powder onto this with this stencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this. Shall I do it? How shall I do it? I think I'm going to place it with that other stencil still in position. This is where I could do with a bit of that on the back of this, couldn't I? Let me just do that out of the way. Just only a tiny little squirt. I want to put that one over this one, because what I want to do is get some Versamark on there. Let's just see where it goes. Okay, I think that's okay. Okay, I just put a little bit of this on the back of this stencil just to keep it in place. Okay, now my Versamark. And I'm going to stamp through the stencil. I don't know what this is going to be like. I have no idea. But, you know, we won't find out until we try, will we? Now, what I'm going to do is take off this stencil. I think I'll keep that one. No, I won't. I'll take it off. It is pretty at the minute, isn't it? Let's have a look. The sticky mat works beautifully, so if you haven't got one, there you go. You can get one easily. Now I can see that is, yeah, I can see that's stamped all right. I'm going to put it onto a piece of paper. And I haven't used these much, but these particular sorts of luscious powders are called casts. It gives a slight colour cast. All of them look the same colour. They all look sort of creamy sort of colour, but this one is a blue cast. So when you put it on, it should give a blue impression. So I'm going to use a little Perfect Pearls brush. Here it is. Dip a little into my powder and let's give it, I'll have a pair of tweezers handy to hold it still. Oh, look at this. Now that's not so much in your face, is it? It's just given us a little bit of twinkle. Look. I can use some of this here. That is pretty. I'll hold it up in a minute, perhaps you can see. Oh, look. Now that I don't mind, you see. If it was just going to be colour like that, I wouldn't like it. So, we haven't quite finished yet. Next thing we're going to do is, I'll just give that a quick swipe with my Swiffery thing. I don't know what it's called, but whoops. Okay. Now I'm going to see if I can stamp over this. So that's both my stencils used. Here is my Misty. I have actually already, I'll show you what to do. I place this in its corresponding die hole and then just pick it up with the lid. Okay, now I'm going to put this into there and I've got to decide what I'm going to stamp this with. These are brand new stamps. I'm just going to rub it on the back of my hand. Most clear stamps need a bit of conditioning. You can either use a bit of, you know, Versamark or something and stamp it onto something else. It just kind of gets rid of the whatever it is that's on the surface of the stamp. So let's try. Let's try with this deep prize ribbon. Let's see if it works. Now that is quite pretty. Let me just do this again. So, this is just 2 colours of Distress Oxides. Still need a little more just in the middle. I quite like this, the luscious though, because it gives a sheen, which is lovely. I'm not sure I've got it all there yet. There's a little bit kind of missing. I don't know whether the stamp is absolutely flat. See if I can get a bit extra ink on there in the middle. It seems to be one little bit that seems to be a bit low, perhaps. That's got it. Well, let's have a look at these three. Let's just take a look. I'll swipe this off with a baby wipe. Okay. Now let's take a look at these three and see what we think. There we go. This one is using the first stencil, which is, which one was it? I think number 7, yeah. Number 7 down here. Was using that stencil, followed by this stencil, just using these 2 colours of ink, prize ribbon and tumbled glass, and I don't like it. I used the stamp on the top of this second stencil. This one was simply tumbled glass all over, prize ribbon brought in from the edges, and then its corresponding stamp stamped onto it. Absolutely accurate. Look at this. We've got this tiny little border all the way around, and it's absolutely even all the way around, and that's because of using the sticky mat, aligning the stencil, the die cut rather, behind the stencil. And this one, can you see? It's got a little bit of shimmer in. I much prefer that. I think if I'd done that with this stencil in ink, in regular ink, it would have just been too much. But as it is, it's just put a bit of shimmer in. So that's it for this one. I will probably make these two into onto a card, or individual cards or something. But this one, I'm afraid, is going to fly away. I don't like it very much. Anyway, a bit of fun, a bit of experiment, and I think I found a way to use that second stencil, which, you know, I'll keep trying, see if I can find any more ways, just to see if, you know, it's a bit more interesting. But I think those two kind of work. So as ever, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.